Good afternoon and welcome to Go Beyond. My name is Alyssa Robinson, and I am here with our senior pastor, Reverend Daniel Humbert. And Go Beyond is a time where we dig deeper into the message from Sunday. We took a little break after Christmas, and so this is our first Go Beyond back for the new year. And so it is very fitting that we are starting with our first week of our New Year's series called New, where we were talking about why is it important to get a fresh start, make a change. And so we're going to be answering questions from the Huddle Guide that is available to you in the description of this video, either above me or below me, depending on where you're watching. But you can always catch up on our Huddle Guides at tmumc.org/stories. But I'm going to go ahead and jump straight into our first question. And you might want to give a little context around this for us, Daniel, for those who didn't get to hear your message on Sunday. Which myth has kept you from doing something new?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Happy New Year. Good to be back with you. It's fun, right? To start over and start new and fresh and all that kind of good stuff. So it is good to be back on Go Beyond. So, yeah, as Alyssa mentioned, I referenced three myths that kind of sometimes keep us from reaching our full potential and reaching new possibilities. And these are not, fully inclusive. There are many other myths. These are probably the most generic, but one is the experience myth. Golly, I've been there, done that, and therefore I must know better. The second one is what I call the know better myth, which is, golly, since I know this, since I've learned about this, since I understand this, I'll just be better at it. And then the third myth was the inevitability myth, which basically just says, golly, life comes at me and throws all kinds of stuff, and therefore why even try? And so, for me personally, the myth that has impacted me the most and hinders me the most is the know better myth. And I think it's because I cherish wisdom, knowledge, insight, learning, growing. And so sometimes I can be lulled into the belief, golly, I've read about that. I know about that. I understand that, simply because I read a book about it or read an article on it. And um, I am sort of notorious for living into that in such a way that I think, well, golly, since I've read about it or updated myself about it, that I don't need to do anything about it. And I might add, and this is just a personal opinion, of course, I think our denomination is notorious for that. That is to say, I think we as United Methodists are good about being updated about things or being quote unquote progressive about things or understanding things, and therefore just having that knowledge and then not doing anything with it or about it, but just possessing it. And I do think we can get bogged down by the fact that, golly, we know all about that, but we're not going to do anything about it. That's a personal opinion.
Well, and so for my answer, because we kind of go back and forth on this Huddle Guide, I was kind of giving Daniel a hard time. I told him none of these myths really struck me personally. I don't know if any of y'all out there feel the same way. They didn't really resonate with me. And as he was going through the myths, I was like, that's not really something I struggle with. But I was thinking more about it. And this might be an extension of the inevitability myth, but in a different way. And something I personally struggle with, I'm going to call the all or nothing myth of if you're not, and this is my, reaction to other people, anything that I start up in my life, if I'm trying to start a health kick or I'm trying to exercise or whatever it is, if you're not putting in 200%, it's not worth my time. And so it's kind of like the inevitability, but the exact other extreme
Yeah, yeah,
of if I so and that's the trouble I get into if we say exercise for an example. I'm gonna go crazy exercise every day, an hour a day, really push myself to the limit. And then if I miss one day, I'm like, ugh, might as well quit. It doesn't matter. None of this matters because I missed a day. So what's the point?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so I don't know if anyone else relates to that. I'm going to coin it and I'm going to call it the all or nothing myth.
All or nothing. I think that's
But
a valid, I have found myself doing that as well sometimes, particularly on the exercise issue. But yeah.
yeah. So our next question is the follow-up to the myth that you struggle with is, why does this get you stuck?
Yeah. Well, again, for me, it's the whole myth issue. That is to say, again, since I've read about this or updated myself about it, I lull myself into believing that not only do I know all about it, but because I know all about it, I've already done it, or I'm already into it, or I'm already completing it. When in fact, it's just not the case. I mean, I have seen that happen to myself multiple times, where simply because I had educated myself on something, I just make up literally in my head, well, I've done that, or I know that, or I can accomplish that, when in fact I often haven't. And so it kind of gets me hung up.
Hmm. I think I get stuck because it just pushes me into this endless cycle of doing in an unhealthy cycle of taking things to the extreme and then being way too hard on myself and not moving forward at all. And so it's kind of this illusion of I'm making drastic changes. I'm, ramping up my spiritual journey. I'm ramping up my health journey or whatever it is I put in front of me. But then I end up being completely self-destructive because I'm too hard on myself, and the progress that I've made I completely discount, and I just get caught in these loops to where I'm starting all over and over and over again because I'm not willing to accept little progress.
Yeah. Well, two things that struck me in preparing the message. One was, to change or to do something new clearly takes new energy and new direction, right? And so it is easier to just not do that, right? It is easier to just keep doing the old thing. But then the other thing that I actually mentioned in the message was this whole sense of it's hard to do new things when I keep doing the same old things. And far too often, I know for myself, and therefore I kind of make up that it's other people too, that I just want to keep doing the old stuff in addition to whatever the new thing is. And sometimes you can do that, sometimes obviously you can't. And so I do think we get caught up as a part of just our human condition. I just want to keep doing that thing, whatever that is. And golly, can I still do that while I try this other way or try this new thing? And Nicodemus kind of teaches us that you really can't. I mean, you really need to just do away with whatever that old thing was and do the new thing. But it takes more energy and effort. There's absolutely no question.
So how will you try to get unstuck
Mm.
in the days ahead?
Yeah, so I'm gonna just like I'm gonna invite everybody else to. I'm gonna step into this over the next few weeks. We're gonna talk more about what is it I need to stop, and that's what I just mentioned. What is it I need to change? How there's something, either something simple or maybe profound, that I need to change in my way of thinking, being, doing, and then finally, and it really doesn't have to be in this order, but I believe it'll probably be most helpful if we do it in this order. Stop, change, and then what am I willing to start? And I think it's important to do the starting stuff after we've already kind of either purged or changed the other. So I'm going to commit to this process of stop, change, start. And of course, it's not original with us. I mean, all kinds of leadership folks and change folk and other folks have used this framework. So we're just going to try to keep it mindful, right? Keep it in front. So.
I think that for me, I need to focus less on the starting and more on the changing, because starting something is easy for me. I get really excited about it. I get really energized about it. I'm all over it. I don't really have that lag of dragging my feet if I don't want to do this. I jump into the deep end right away. But what I need to change is my mindset, and that it's okay to have slip ups. And if you have a slip up, it doesn't mean that everything you've accomplished up until that point is worthless.
Right, right.
And so that's just something that I need to retrain myself on, that you don't give up after you've slipped up a few times. Your progress is still progress.
I wonder why, because I'm a similar way. I wonder why we find that, right? Why just one slip up or even a couple kind of just causes us to go, dadgummit, I'm not going to do this anymore.
I don't know, but I think that we could learn a lot from the recovery community on
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Doug would have a lot to teach us about how to overcome when you feel like you're slipping up.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Doug, you know this, but just as a plug, Doug is kicking off this coming Sunday about what should we stop. And he will indeed use some of his recovery understanding and live to help us know how important that is, because it just is. There are certain things we just need to stop and have no ifs, ands, or buts about it to move forward. So.
All right, everybody, those are all of the questions from our Huddle Guide this week. I really want to encourage you to go to this Huddle Guide, look at the Huddle discussions, take them home, and ask questions around your dinner table tonight because it leads to really great conversation and spiritual growth. And I think we need connection now more than ever. And a great place to start is with a meal and a conversation. So, yep, I hope you'll go to tmumc.org/stories and access this Huddle Guide. And as always, you can catch previous episodes of Go Beyond at tmumc.org/go beyond.
That's